All right, shalom aleichem rabotai. Welcome to our Wednesday class on Yalkut Yosef. We are in the topic of Berkot Ha'Shachar, and we have reached the bracha shelo asani goy. But beforehand, whoever remembers, I have homework that I owe you from last week. Last week I had a doubt regarding a certain beracha. The beracha is she'asa li kol tzorki, which means that Hashem provided me shoes so that I could walk. The literal translation, she'asa li kol tzorki, means He gave me all of my needs. It's really referring to the shoes because the shoes, back then, if you didn't have a shoe, you can't go anywhere. It's like a protection. So the question is, do we say this beracha on Yom Kippur or not? Because a real shoe, according to Chachamim, is a shoe that's made of leather, that really is a full protection. Even though today, if a person wears Crocs on Yom Kippur, sometimes he rather wear the Crocs. That's not how it used to be. Halachically, that's a shoe. So do we say this beracha on Yom Kippur or do we not? According to Rav Ovadia, he would say that you should say the beracha. And there are a few reasons why. Because even though I'm not allowed to wear a leather shoe, I can say the beracha because if theoretically there were scorpions or something like that that would put me in danger, then I would be allowed to wear leather shoes. And because of that reason, it's sufficient enough for me to say the beracha, even though I'm not wearing it, because I may be able to wear it if I want to. Yigal Baruch Haba. The Ran also explains, the Ran is Rabbeinu Nissim, that this bracha is not just for the Jews. We're saying a bracha on behalf of the whole world. So the goyim on this day, they can wear shoes. Then according to that opinion, then we should say the bracha. We're not just saying it for us, we're saying it for the whole world. These are the opinions that hold that on Yom Kippur, we should say the bracha, even though we don't wear leather shoes. However, halacha, according to the Kabbalah, according to Rabbeinu Arizal, is that this bracha is a bracha that is not said on Yom Kippur. But you may wear it because of scorpions. We learned something about the Mekubalim. The Mekubalim hold that every bracha has a tunnel, has a pipe that leads to upstairs, and it makes an effect, and it brings down bracha. So many brachot, even if the logical reason is there, we still is not there. We would still say the bracha because he says, no, this is, you're creating something in the heavens. According to him, this bracha is not said on Yom Kippur. Must be that on this day, that pipe or that abundance that you're trying to bring down is locked out. So there's no point of saying the beracha. That's according to the Ari HaKadosh, but according to the Rav Ovadia, and obviously his son, the Yalkut Yosef, the book that we're learning, holds that we do say that beracha, she'asa li kol tzorki on Yom Kippur, even though we do not wear leather shoes. All right, that was homework from last time, and now we are going to continue with the beracha of shelo asani goy. See, someone asked the question. They asked, I heard this from Rav Mansour, why are we saying thank you, Hashem, for not making me a goy? Why are we going on the negative? Wouldn't it be more appropriate to say thank you, Hashem, for making me a Jew? That sounds, more right. Why are we going in that direction? So there's a famous Gemara in Masechet Eruvin. The Gemara in Masechet Eruvin says that it would be more comfortable for a person not to be created and to come down to this world than to come down. But since he's been created and since he already came down, all right, then ABCD. Bottom line, the conclusion for this Mishnah is that really this world is not comfortable to come into. Why? Baruch Hashem, we have nice things, we enjoy this world. Hashem could have made it black and white, he made it colorful. Hashem could have made food flavorless, like for the snake. He eats dust, he eats the mouse, it's the same flavor for it. We have pleasures in this world. No. Still, it's more comfortable that we had not come to this world. Why? The Gemara concludes, because there are obligations that a Jew carries with him. I mean, this is what the Chachamim were pointing at. We have to wake up in the morning, wait, Netilat Yadayim, we want to eat bread, wait, Amotzi, we want to say, wait, Berkot Ha'Shachar, then wait, Shacharit, Minyan, Tefillin, can I go here? No, this is not kosher. A person, if you're not built into it, it makes someone lose his mind. It's not simple. It's not simple, right? Baruch Hashem, we know that it is. But once we're accustomed to it, but if you look at it from the outside, so many obligations to a Jew, and really, 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 there's something that we may take lightly, but there's a issue that is called Bitul Torah. What is Bitul Torah? Bitul Torah is when somebody sits and doesn't learn, he's wasting his time, he's playing, he's watching, he's doing something that the purpose of that is not to help him in spirituality, he's just chilling, right? Now, but I wish we will get to that level that will be our sin, that we are not learning every second. But even that, a Jew is obligated to not waste time, a Jew is obligated to learn Torah all the time. So this obligation is sitting upon us. You bring us down to this world. The Gemara says, better I would have not been created. There's so many sins, so many Yetzer Hara that's trying to make us fall down. Maybe it's not such black and white, like like eating meat and dairy together, but just getting angry, just having ga'ava, these are all sins, right? So there's so much potential of sinning. That's why Chachamim say it would have been better to not come down to this world. Why am I telling you all of this? So you should say, so we say, לפחות תודה שאני לא גוי. So thank you Hashem that I am not a goy. Why? Because if I would have said, thank you Hashem for making me Jewish, would it be really 100% the complete beracha in my heart? Thank you for making me Jewish. The Gemara says it would have been better to not come down to this world with all the obligations that we have. It would have been better. That's not accurate. The language of the Gemara is noach. It would have been more comfortable, meaning it's not comfortable. Better, it's better because this is a chance Hashem gives us to collect good deeds for the next world, Be'ezrat Hashem. That's why we're here. But it's not comfortable. So to say, Hashem, thank you that I'm a Jew, maybe you wouldn't be saying it full-hearted because, you have all these difficulties, all this yetzer hara, all these sins. And therefore, it's more appropriate to say, thank you for not making me a goy. All right? Points out the Taz. The Taz is the Tzoreh Zahav. He says, if we would have said the beracha, that Hashem, thank you for making me a Jew, from this you would have concluded that anyone that is not a Jew is already bad. Thank you for making me a Jew. Anything else is good. Right now, what are we saying? Thank you for not making me a goy. What's the difference? No, what if a goy converted? Right? If a goy converted, he is no longer a goy. He's Israel now. But would he be able to say, Shelo asani goy? Shelo asani goy means I was never a goy. But he was a goy. Meaning the idea behind it is that there are goyim that Hashem did not make them a Jew, but they are now Jews. If I would have said She'asani Israel, the goy that converted would have never been able to say She'asani Israel, She'asani Yehudi. So this covers him as well. Either way, that's the reasoning behind it. Thank you for not making me a goy. Now, a person goes to sleep. When we go to sleep, are we Jewish or goyim? What do you say? We're Jewish, right? We wake up in the morning, we're still Jewish. So I get it. You say this beracha. Yeah.
Sorry, for Ger Tzedek, a convert, they do say Shelo Asani Goy or no?
We're going to touch this soon. The topic is coming up, Be'ezrat Hashem. It's coming up. Good question. So I went to sleep. Sorry?
No, I thought you just gave the answer to that, and I didn't understand. So sorry.
No. Okay. So we're going to discuss that a little more. No, what I said is that the bracha of Shelo Asani Goy is more accurate because if I would have said She'asani Yehudi, then a convert wouldn't have been able. So from this, you understand that probably the convert can say. So maybe that's what you're referring to when you say, I thought you answered it. There's a little bit of a discussion around that. Hopefully we'll touch that today, Be'ezrat Hashem. All right. So someone went to sleep Jewish, and he wakes up in the morning Jewish. So our question is, all right, every day I'm going to say, Shelo Asani Goy, thank you for not making me a Goy. That was yesterday. I'm a Jew already. I'm good. How much? We see this a lot on the berachot. You could ask this question a lot, but over here it's really black and white. It's like, I'm a Jew already. Why am I saying the bracha all over again? So we're thanking Hashem on a daily basis because it's not just that He made me a Jewish and not a Jew, not a goy. It's for the direction that He is setting me in. Meaning, okay, it's true, I'm already Jewish, but I'm also thankful that obviously if someone is saying the beracha, he's in a direction that is towards Hashem. He cares about the Torah, he cares about the mitzvot. He's not stop saying the beracha. The thank you to Hashem is that, thank you Hashem that I'm in the right direction. Making me not a goy is not just a statement, it's a direction. I'm going somewhere. And on that path, obviously you are guiding me. So thank you for that. The Beit Chadash, the Bach, he's also an interpreter on the Bet Yosef. Bet Yosef is what the Shulchan Aruch compiled, meaning the Bet Yosef is the big book, and Shulchan Aruch is a summary of the Bet Yosef, but it was also written by the Shulchan Aruch. One of the commentaries on the Bet Yosef is a Beit Chadash, and the Beit Chadash says, שמקבל בחזרה בבוקר את נשמתו היהודית ולכן מברך כל יום. Meaning, why do I say the bracha every morning? Because I'm a Jew, but what happens at night? My neshama is taken up to Shammai. Every night, a person should know this. Our neshama goes up there and it is judged. There's a judgment of Yom Kippur, there's a judgment on many different times of our life, but also every night our neshama is judged. That's why it's so important to read Shema al Amitah. The Shema that we read before we go to sleep We do confession, Hashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazanu, right before we go to sleep. Why? What's the idea? Where did it come from? Because our neshama is going to be judged up in the heavens right now, and then it's going to come down charged, hopefully with a full battery. But if I'm carrying a lot of sins in my heart and it goes up and it gets judged, then it's not a good situation. However, there's a rule. What's the rule? Anybody that is judged down here is not judged up there. Let me tell you a story about this Beit Chadash. It's interesting that we were mentioning here. We also mentioned the Taz a minute ago. The Taz was the Beit Chadash's son-in-law. Father-in-law and son, two huge pillars of Torah that have comments on Rabbi Yosef Karo, on his books. One day, how did that happen? How did he become his son-in-law? Taz was sitting in the Beit Chadash in his class or in his house or something like that. And then the rabbi, a Beit Chadash, he was the older one, obviously. The Beit Chadash said, "Oh, is it time for Kiddush Levana?" Something like that. Isn't it time to do the blessing of the Levana? And the Taz said, if you're already talking about Kiddushin, maybe we could be Mekadesh your daughter. I want to marry her. That's the story. That's how he married his daughter. A wonderful shidduch, two families of Torah, amazing. But one of the terms that the Taz had, the Torah Zav had, is that I'm marrying your daughter on the term that every day for the next 5 years, you will be feeding me a meat lunch. Why? It sounds very materialistic, very superficial for a rabbi. That's his term. But the idea was that he will be able to learn Torah with rosh shaket. We have no headache. Let me have my meat. It helps me, give me strength so that I can. That's all they cared about, Torah. They signed a contract, no problem. 5 years, you're getting Torah. One day, instead of getting a meat lunch from his father-in-law, he gets re'ot. How do you say re'ot? Lungs. Yeah, I don't know why that. Lungs. He brings him lungs. I don't know if you ever see it anymore. In the past, on Rosh Hashanah, we would bring lungs. We would say, "Yu avonotenu kalim kare'ah." Today, I don't know, the kashrut, maybe they don't bring it so much, but the lungs. So he looks at the lungs and he says, "Sorry, this is not meat." What does he do to his father-in-law? Nothing less than sues him. He takes him to Beit Din, puts him in front of the rabbis, and he said, "I was promised, here's the contract, 5 years of meat lunch. This is lungs. I didn't get what I deserved." Whatever the Beit Din concluded, everybody was wondering, why? It's your father-in-law. So one day he missed, even if it's not considered meat. For that you're going to sue your father-in-law? Anybody want to guess what the answer is according to what we just explained? The answer is that when there's judgment down here, there's no judgment up there. The Taz was concerned that his father-in-law, when he goes to Shamayim, they're going to tell him, "Hey, one day your son-in-law didn't learn proper Torah. He didn't have the right strength because he didn't get a meat lunch. It's all your fault. You promised, and you did not provide. You gave him lungs." He said, "But if I sue him down here, then when there's judgment down here, there's no judgment in Shamayim." Connecting it to Kiryat Shema and Amita, we say Hashamnu Bagadnu because we want to judge ourselves down here, so that in Shamayim we won't be judged. So that's what the Beit Chadash explains. He says that since in the morning our neshama comes back, where was it? It was judged, it was up in the heavens, it was charging, it was getting plans, whatever it is. And because our neshama is coming back every day, and it's a Jewish neshama, then that's another reason to say every morning, Shelo Asani Goy. All right. So actually the series of 3 brachot, Shelo Asani Goy, Shelo Asani Aved, Shelo Asani Isha, they kind of come together. There's some opinions that hold that if you mess up the order, you can't even go backwards. So we'll explain why. Why is it made in this order? Chachamim didn't just randomly shoot berachot at us. First Shelo Asani Goy, then Lo Aved, then Lo Isha. What's the idea behind it? So they explain like this. Out of these 3, the Isha is in the highest level, the woman. And then the servant, and then the Goy. Why? The Goy has no mitzvot at all, right? He does not keep any mitzvot. He has a Sheva mitzvot bnei noach that every human being has to keep, but he doesn't have any mitzvot. A servant, a Eved Kanani, he has mitzvot like a woman. Let's say a Jew now took upon himself a servant. When the Jews came into Israel, they were Canaanites. They were people that were living there. Imagine one of them became our servant. The halacha was he had to keep certain mitzvot, not all, like a woman. So why is he lower than a woman? We said the woman is the highest level. The difference between him and a woman, they explain, is that a woman has a yichus. She has a lineage. She comes from a family, therefore she's in a higher level than that servant regarding spirituality. So we leave the woman for the end since she's the highest. If we say her first, "Thank you for not making me a woman," of course it already will include, "Thank you for not making me a servant and for not making me a goy." But if I start, "Thank you for not making me a goy," Also, thank you for not making me a servant. It's going up. Also, thank you for not making me a woman, right? This is all referring to the obligation of mitzvot. Yeah, it's not, I don't want to be a woman. We are happy for the mitzvot, even though we just explained that the mitzvot are sometimes difficult and not easy and not comfortable. But are we happy? We are happy because this is our work in this world. So that's the order. That's why it's done in that way. Was that clear why we do the order? We're growing in spirituality. If you say thank you for the big house, then you can't say also thank you for the storage room. But if you say thank you for the storage room, thank you for the small apartment, thank you for the big house that you bought, that's the order. So that's why we're doing the order in this way. And the Taz says that if you mixed up the order, if let's say by mistake you started and said Shelo Asani Aved, he says now you can't say Shelo Asani Goy, because Aved already includes certain mitzvot. The Goy has no mitzvot, so you're going to go backwards. Thank you for the storage room. You already said thank you for the apartment, right? That's the opinion of the Taz. The Aliyah Rabbah, this is another rabbi in the Machloket, he has a controversy on this, and he says, לגוי ועבד יכולים להיות יתרונות שאין לאישה. There are certain things that actually a goy or a servant will have that are better than a woman. Don't think a woman is highest because she has the lineage. Really, if they convert, what happens if a goy converts or if an Eved Kenani converts? Now, they have much more mitzvot than that woman has. So they have more potential than her. So it's not right to say, like the Taz says, that if you mix up the order, don't say, who are we to know who is higher and who is lower? And therefore, he says that either way, even if you mixed up the order of the berachot, you should still continue and say all three of them. You want to guess what the halacha is? Halacha is like Aliyah Rabbah. Even if we mixed up the order, we still say the beracha. Who are we to give numbers to say a woman is higher, a goy is lower? What if tomorrow they do a conversion, now they're higher than a woman? These are all separate berachot. Each one is a pipe to Shemaim, and even if we mix up the order, we still say all three of them. Now to the question of the day, Mr. Nick Hakimi. Does a goy say the beracha shelo asani goy? Very good, chazak u'baruch. And that would be question number one. Question number two would be, okay, a goy is someone that was never Jewish. But what about a baby that in his mother's stomach, she decides to convert? What is the deen of that baby? Is that baby considered a Jew or a goy? And therefore, can you say the beracha shelo asani goy, shelo asani, or you cannot say? So there is a safek, there's a doubt around this. The Chida says, Rabbeinu Chaim Yosef David Azulai, the great Moroccan rabbi, the Moroccan Kabbalist and posek, he says that the goy should not say the beracha shelo asani goy if he converted, because it won't be true. Really, how can you say it shelo asani goy? He did make you a goy. The fact that you converted, amazing. That's how he holds. And he asks, but what do we do about a baby in his mother's stomach? So the Pri Megadim says that you go according to the minute that the baby was conceived. When the baby was conceived, were the parents Jewish or no? No, they were goyim. So according to his opinion, the baby, according to his opinion, Shat Yetzirah, the baby was conceived, he was already a goy. Since he was a goy, he cannot say shelo asani goy. However, the Pri Chadash holds, no, we don't go according to the minute that he was conceived. We will go according to the minute that he was born. When he was born, his mother was Jewish. Since his mother was Jewish, he became Jewish, and therefore he can say shelo asani goy. So we have two opinions. Regarding the goy, we concluded, the Chida says that he shouldn't say the beracha shelo asani goy, as we just explained with the next question. Regarding the baby, that in his stomach, his mother converted, we saw a controversy. Do we count it as if from the moment he was conceived, and therefore he's a goy, or do we count it as from the moment that he is born? Since there's a safek and there's a machloket, what is our rule when we have a doubt? Safek berachot leakel. We do not say the beracha. So if a baby in the stomach, his mother converted, according to the halacha, he should not say the beracha shelo asani goy, in case the opinion is that he is considered a goy. All right. Next question I have for you. This is a trick question. Everybody ready? The beracha shelo asani aved. Hashem, thank you for not making me a servant or a slave. A very big question. Can a married man say this beracha? No, okay. This was the joke of Rabbi Mansour. I stole it. But he says, yes, even married men say, Shelo asani aved, thank you for not making me a servant. But why, as we explained before, what's the difference between a goy? Why are we making another beracha, Shelo asani aved? So, as we explained before, the eved has certain advantages over the goy. Therefore, we make a separate beracha. Even though we learned that who said that these advantages are long-lasting, what if they convert, what if this, what if that? But on the surface level, we still make separate brachot because we have the ability. We still are thanking Hashem, first for the storage room, then for the apartment, then for the penthouse. The only thing we said earlier is that who said that the penthouse is greater? Maybe these old, smaller ones are going to convert. Okay, so because of that, we still say all the three berachot, even if we messed up the order. But why to begin with to say three berachot? Yes, that is the reason, because we are thanking for each separately.
Ziv, sorry if I missed it before. If a person, I know there's no avadim right now, except for maybe husbands, but if a person used to be an eved, would he have said this beracha? Eved Yehudi.
Very good question. We always have those. I didn't see the Yalkut Yosef talk about that. Maybe because today it's not so relevant. Good question. I'm going to answer you from my hunch, but I'll check B'nada. Even if a Jew was a servant at a certain point, Hashem made us servants to Hashem and not to other people. Even if technically we are servants to other people, but if we are proper Jews, we're always servants of Hashem. So to begin with, you could say, if I'm a servant of Hashem, then Shelo asani aved, I shouldn't say I'm Hashem's servant. No, a Jew is there to serve Hashem, not to serve anybody else. If he's serving anybody else, it's a job. Or, so I would think that maybe that's why this question never came up, but B'nada, I'm going to mark it for me to look.
Sorry, I missed last class and I haven't had a chance. When did these berachot get instituted?
So we mentioned that, okay, let's go back a little bit. It's a good reminder for all of us. There's an opinion by a rabbi called Rav Natronai Gaon. Rabbi Natronai Gaon was one of the Geonim, lived about 1,000 years ago. And he brings down that originally that you were supposed to say 100 berachot a day. That came halacha leMoshe Sinai. Only what? Right. The halacha leMoshe Sinai didn't verbalize the actual berachot. They just made a title, say 100 berachot a day. Everybody would say them for themselves. In the time of David HaMelech, people were not so careful, and that's why David HaMelech instituted. He said, no, we have to say the berachot 100 a day. Ma Hashem Elokecha shoel mimcha, al tikri ma ela me'ah, don't read ma, read me'ah, read 100 berachot. Since we have to have 100 berachot, in the time of Anshe Knesset HaGdolah, which is about 300-400 years before the Mishnah, they instituted the actual berachot. They put these 18 berachot of Berkot Ha'Shachar together, as well as many other berachot, because they saw there's no choice. The berachot, we can't trust people to just say 100 berachot. We need to give them something in their hands, and that's when the Chachamim Anshe Knesset HaGdolah, so to answer your question, maybe between 22 to 2,500 years ago, that's when they lived. And they instituted the 100 berachot, including these Berkot Ha'Shachar.
Thank you.
All right. So next beracha is המעביר חבלי שינה מאלי. First of all, let's translate. What does that mean? המעביר חבלי שינה. Hashem is removing the chevel. Chevel is something that you tie so that you can't get out. As if my eyes were tied closed, I was asleep, and Hashem opened up the strings, and now I'm able to get up and open my eyes. That's המעביר חבלי שינה מעיני. I was beat. I had no strength, and I got my battery charged. That's what I'm thinking. The Midrash Teilim says something nice about this beracha. He says, what is the difference between a person and a Kadosh Baruch Hu? When I give something to my friend to use, here, I'm lending you my car, I'm lending you my house. You give it back to me after a year, after 5 years, is it going to be in the same condition? Anytime you give something to somebody, when you get it back, it's been used. Used is not the same as brand new. Even one time you wore someone's shirt, it's already used. It's not the same. So that's with human beings. But with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, every night we give him back our neshama, and our neshama is dirty. We give it to him dirty, and he cleans it. So we give it to him, but he gives it back to us much cleaner. This is what the Midrash Teilim say. And that's why the bracha ends with הגומל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל. We began by saying thank you for removing the strings of tiredness from my eyes and giving me the strength. And we conclude the bracha with הגומל חסדים, giving me great chesed. What's the great chesed? That not only you woke me up, but you took my neshama at night and you gave it back to me charged, much better, and upgraded. Right after we read that part, there's a Yehi Ratzon in Berkot Ha'Shachar. Do you remember that Yehi Ratzon? We read Yehi Ratzon Hashem Shetatzileni. Hashem, please save me. And we name over there 11 different things. Me'azei panim, me'azut panim, from chutzpah, me'adam ra, me'yetzer ra, from a bad person, from yetzer ra, from a bad friend, from a bad neighbor, etc. We name 11 things. Let me break down why is there a list of 11 things. Anybody remember where else in Judaism do we have a concept of 11?
Were there 11 things created during Bein HaShmashot?
That's 10. That's close. That's very close.
Wow.
Very close. Every morning we read it twice, guys. Every morning we read it twice. What did you say, Nick?
The 11 stars? Those who bow down
of
to
Yosef.
Yosef.
You're Chad Mi Yodea. Wow, you know that song well. Okay, Chazak u'Baruch. I was referring to the 11 samemanim of the Ketoret. The Ketoret, right? 11 samemanim hayu ba, ve'elo natzori ve'tziporim ve'chadbana. The Chachamim say it's good to count them with your finger until you get to 11. Now, we don't know what happens over there, but according to the Kabbalah, there's a secret of the number 11, and that relates to this as well. That's why the list of thank you, Hashem, for saving me from, ask for 20, ask for 50. No, there's a secret behind it. Can I tell you what the secret is? I wish I knew the secret. But we should know that there's a reason why there's 11 things over there. And it's the same reason as well as the Ketoret. All right. Now, there's a halacha also called Kol Mishe Yatsa Motzi. Example, I already did Avdalah, but I come home and I have little children that do not know how to do Avdalah. I'm allowed to say Avdalah for them, right? Or let's say a woman that can't read, a Persian lady, she wants to hear Avdalah, but she doesn't know how to do it herself. Of course, I can do it for her. Afal pi sheyatsa, even though I'm Yotzei, I already did. Motzi, I'm able to exempt her. The question is, what's the question? As we just mentioned after Yigal asked, we have 100 berachot that we have to reach every day. Now, the main challenge is on Shabbat, because if you pray 3 prayers a day during the week, you get to 100 pieces of cake, a few asher yatzar, a few bites, you're there. On Shabbat, there's a challenge because the tefillot bring us to minus 20. We have 20 berachot less than during the week. But we know that. I'm reminding you, it's an obligation. It's not a recommendation. It's an obligation to get to 100 berachot a day, men and women. It's not always easy. We don't pay attention. If we go to Bet Knesset and we do what we need to do, we're pretty much covered. On Shabbat, we have a bigger challenge. Therefore, the discussions on Shabbat are, what am I allowed to do? For example, I'm eating a meal. Usually, if I want to have a fruit right now in the meal, I don't say Berkat Hamazon, then have a fruit. Why? Because I can say the bracha on the fruit during Berkat Hamazon, and then before Berkat Hamazon, and then my Berkat Hamazon will include it all. But now, what am I doing instead? No, I'm finishing, I'm saying Berkat Hamazon, then eating the fruit, saying Sha'akol, then Bo Nefashot. It's as if I'm adding berachot that are not needed. On Shabbat, I'm allowed to do that. Because on Shabbat, we need to get to the extra berachot. Rabbi says, you're allowed to, whenever there's a doubt in those areas, you're allowed to add those berachot. Either way, we're always in need of berachot. So I see my time is up, but the conclusion is that when I was saying Avdalah for somebody else, even though I already did it, or take any other example, Kiddush, can I count that for me as berachot? Right? Let's say I'm going to a hospital with many people that are sick and they can't do Kiddush. We have one here in Ra'anana. Bet Levinstein, there's a guy, his job is every Friday night because he does 50 Kiddushim. In every room he comes, he does Kiddush for people that can't go home and say Kiddush. Can that count for berachot for him? Or since he's repeating it for someone else and not for him? No. Halacha is that counts for berachot, it counts for a beracha for him, and it counts for a beracha for him. Right, we will stand over here, Rabotai, and we will see you next week. Be'ezrat Hashem. Have a Shabbat Shalom. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.